co-convener of that group, Bernard Mornah, is joined us to let us appreciate really why they have decided to join the NDC in this endeavor. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Why is the Arise Ghana group joining the NDC in this particular endeavor?
Well, good evening to you and to your many listeners. First and foremost, I am qualified as the minority in Parliament, and the minority represents all of us who are not at the majority side of government. And so when you qualified just because the current minority is the composition of the NDC, then it should have come from the NDC headquarters. But this is the minority in Parliament that made the call that we of Arise Ghana are in support of. Probably the NDC as a political party will join. And I also do know that Justice for Ghana had initially even issued a statement also condemning and requesting that the governor of the Bank of Ghana, the two deputies, and the entire board should resign. And so it is a call that has been well received by many rational Ghanaians. And I'm sure that this call fits very well with you, even as you host a show and you would like to play neutral in this matter. But certainly, no one would want to see a situation where the central bank, which is supposed to be the supervisor of all banks, has been the biggest violator of the banking rules in this country. And once the central bank decides that by itself it will break the rules, it puts itself in a very weak position in terms of supervising and enforcing the rules of engagement by the commercial and development banks in this country. See, it is this central bank that made sure that banks without liquidity capacity or requirement were closed down. It is this central bank that even banks with liquidity strength were closed down because some owners or promoters of the bank were in court, and they assumed that once the court would be able to make a determination, I'm referring to Heritage Bank, if the determination is made, it may affect the bank and its operations. So they took a decision to close down Heritage Bank and to freeze its assets. The central bank has led the collapse of many other financial institutions in this country, and at the last count, there were about 517 of such, from microfinance to savings and loan schemes, and to the banks themselves. So today, if the Bank of Ghana can print money above its own limit to supply a government, for government to run its reckless program to the tune of 77 billion, then it means that the central bank governor is not fit for purpose, or he simply doesn't want to comply with the rules that establish or under which the Bank of Ghana is working. Number two, if you listen to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, he's saying that, look, the location of the current bank is such that it is earthquake prone. Citi FM is earthquake prone, or Citi Media is earthquake prone. In fact, the Parliament House is earthquake prone. When I used to live at Cantonment around 1995, 1996, there was an earth tremor. All the buildings there were shaking, right? So the entire Accra is earthquake prone. But it is not only the Bank of Ghana that is located at the place that the central bank is saying that because of its earthquake proneness, it should be removed. Our courts, superior courts, are located there. You know that the Ghana Commercial Bank has an office, in fact, a building that is directly opposite the central bank. You know that we have the Absa Bank. You know that we have the biggest market in our country called Makola Market within that principle. We have the Baden Powell Hall. We have the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. All these institutions are within that same enclave. If it is about earthquake proneness, then the suggestion would be that let's evacuate all other buildings. Let's take our lorry stations and everything from that place so that we will not. In effect, what we mean is that we should take our capital from Accra. So if you make these arguments, which are flimsy, for which you have to be spending money, I think that it doesn't sit well with anybody. The second point that I want to establish is an account proverb, which says that to which we do what is needful before we can do what is beautiful. So at this critical time, when even the economy is in such turmoil, that the IMF has suspended or has asked Ghana government to suspend major development programs in order that they can be able to relieve the citizens of the burden that is ongoing. The central bank is still justifying why they should be sinking so much money into an edifice that will make them go and sit comfortable. I think that the governor simply have lost the script. He doesn't understand the situation in which we find ourselves. And when you have a central governor that does not understand the times, then it means that that central governor is not fit.
I think it does, so because he says that without the central bank coming to the aid of Ghanaians to take the hit in the DDEP, the economy might have collapsed. So that's clearly somebody who understands the times, knows that Ghana is in a difficulty, and then the central bank had to come to the rescue, which really is what it's supposed to be doing.
There was a central governor who managed to take inflation to 15%, Dr. Wampa, you recall. Mm-hmm. That central bank governor took the Ghana Citi depreciation to 4.2 to $1. And because of that, we made calls and even asked the president to sack the central bank governor. And the president, out of frustration, had to speak in parliament that those of us who were calling for him to sack the central bank governor should know that his power and remit does not permit him to sack him. And that if we want him to be clothed with authority, parliament should change the law. The governor got it right. That look, the president who appointed him, if he had the opportunity, he will remove him from office. The governor resigned and things became better. Today, we are talking about inflation at 43.1%. What it means is that your capacity to purchase with your immediate income has been diminished. What it means is that cost of living has gone high among many Ghanaians. What it simply means is that anytime you are going to buy something, it means that you are going to buy it at an exorbitant price. Meanwhile, the value of that thing will not change. Look, as we speak, our currency is depreciated to about 13 cedis to $1.
No, I think it's about 11.5.
Well, that is when you decide to look at what the central bank says. But when you go into the open market to go and change, then reality will confront you. Just decide to walk into the bank and see whether you get the rate that has been advertised. So obviously, we are in such terrible crisis, and the persons responsible for the monetary space have just shown gross and crass incompetence in managing the affairs, and I have likened the situation to a piece of yam that starts to decay. If you say that you want to have the whole yam and leave it for another week, by the time you realize, the whole yam would have gotten rotten. So at this point, we cannot sacrifice the entire central bank, its credibility, its capacity to attract confidence from the investor community. It's better to sacrifice those who are currently managing it and to bring about new competence within the system. And that is why Arise Ghana has decided to back the minority's call for the resignation and will participate fully in the activities to occupy the Bank of Ghana.
So how would this occupation be? You will just picket, demonstrate, go picket there for a while, end of day you go home. How is it going to be?
We will be communicating whether it's even going to be a 1 week, it's going to be an ad infinitum demonstration or picketing to such an extent that until and unless we see that they are out of office, we will not move out of that place. So we will certainly come with a rollout for you to understand how we intend to do this and how we want to achieve the removal or the resignation of the governor, his deputies, and all assigns who have contributed to the gross grief we find ourselves in today.
All right. Thank you so much, Bernard Mornah, who is a co-convener of the Arise Ghana pressure group.